Live and in person, baby.
Oh, yes.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 4. Quattro, I think.
Yes.
I don't know. I was bad at other languages. Welcome to episode 4, Whispers from the Void. I'm Evan.
I'm Phil, de Vitesse for the Intimates. Thanks for tuning in again.
Yeah, welcome all. Today, we're going to be, we've talked about ourselves a lot so far. So today, we're not talking about ourselves, but we kind of are.
We are not that egocentrical, not at all.
We're going to talk about artists, not musicians, but actual artists, with the fucking flick of the wrist, painting bullshit stuff. So we're going to talk about like album covers and stuff like that, and what album covers kind of like do for an album, how you can almost look at album covers and you can almost kind of like dissect the music that you're going to be hearing, or even just listen to the music and even just look at an album cover and kind of get a picture and an idea of what you're expecting, or how it correlates to the music, and then we'll also talk about our top 3 favorite artists.
I'm good with that. So do we start with beers again?
We should start with beers.
We always start with beers. We
always start with beers. I actually have a funny one. It's not really well, I don't know. It depends on how you like it.
America's run on Dunkin.
Yeah, seriously. I have the Dunkin Jelly Donut IPA. It's from Harpoon. It's a limited release. They come in like this pack.
I love it.
They come in this pack of like 12.
I want some.
I have another one. This is a coffee porter.
Oh damn!
But I bought it like last weekend, and I've already had all of them.
Damn.
These are my last 2. So
I'm drinking this Messorem, which is called Sept Pied Sous Terre, or 7 feet under, which is better than 6, by the way. So
7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, so 7 feet under, which is a DDH IPA, 7%. I have not the chance to taste it because it's in Montreal and that company is not shipping in Quebec. So when I was in Montreal like 2 weeks ago, maybe, I was like, oh, let's go get some Messorem. It's one of those beer that are like the haze craze. They love the haze, like so hazy. But yeah, so let's begin.
Let us begin. So in my search, I will admittedly say this. A lot of the times I look at album covers and I just think about how fucking sick they look. There are some that basically are just you could literally just take the picture itself, put it on your wall, because it's just that beautiful. I don't often think about the artists that made them, and it's kind of like a weird thing. I feel like they don't get enough credit a lot of the time. But what I did notice in kind of like researching this topic is that a lot of the same artists kind of come up, and so we might not take notice, but a musician, a band will definitely take notice.
Of course.
They'll have a certain idea in their head about how they want something to look, or what kind of images they're trying to portray with their music. And I feel like there's a very, I wouldn't call it a small circle, but there's definitely some go-to people in the industry. Yeah, is what I would say.
Of course, and I think it depends on the genre you're doing. Like, I would take not someone from my top, because I would reserve it for later. I would take, like, we were talking about Converge on the first episode, and I found out that the singer Jacob Bannon is doing the art cover of some of Converge album, and he did this.
A classic.
Yeah, a classic. Jane Doe, Converge, the music is so good, and this art is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like, the art itself, it's pretty unique. You don't see that anywhere. And yeah, like when I was searching for some, I was like, okay, now I understand their art. What does it mean and what is their style, in fact. So yeah. Jacob Bannon's pretty cool. I don't think he did other stuff. I didn't have the time to search for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you would call that like at least one of your favorites, I would say.
Yeah, it's not in our top 3 though. Like for me, he did not do much than Converge. I don't know if he did other artworks for other artists. I don't even know. But for me, each time I see a Converge album, I know it's Jacob. That done it.
There's definitely art that like that Converge album for sure. Jane Doe. You have some art that if you go into a record store, you know, and you're gonna go buy a record, and you don't know what you want that day, but you kind of just scan. I feel like a lot of people will just kind of like, it's kind of like picking a beer, you know, you go in, you're like, that artwork's neat, and you pick it up, not really full well knowing exactly what it's about. And that's a whole other aspect to albums. It gives them a little bit of life outside of just the music, just how they show up in the world. And artists, I mean, man, you know, they all do a fucking really good job. I'm gonna butcher a lot of names today too. I'm sure Philippe will be able to help me out. We'll put the name down below or something, so
no problem.
People will kind of understand what I'm talking about. So my first artist, I would probably say he's definitely in my top 3. I don't know if I don't really rank them, to be honest, because I find all of their stuff very captivating, and they help the albums very well. You really can understand, like you can look at the image, you can hear the music, and it kind of just brings you to this own little world, and you can really understand the image, which I feel like is a very important part of how that relationship works. So Fuming Mouth, which was The Grand Descent, Bell Witch, Mirror Reaper, and Jupiterian, Photo Sapien. It has like a watercolor aspect to it, but they have great depictions of just still frame images where, you know, in Bell Witch, Mirror Reaper, you have the Reaper coming out of the mirror, and it's very vibrant, very colorful. And I wouldn't really say colorful, but it's very vibrant, and you can really depict what's going on in the image. You can almost see like a bunch of little people kind of like watching this fucking Reaper dude just come out of this fucking mirror. And the same thing with Fuming Mouth. I'm looking at the image right now, but it's basically, again, almost like a specter with a sword in one hand. He's gripping the sword. He's got the blood coming down on his fucking hands. He's got fire in another. And then from him, there's people. You don't see a lot of details in the people. They're like silhouettes of people, and then they kind of just the grand descent. They go into the ground. A lot of these images really depict the torments, you know, hell, you know, kind of just like the things that you would expect really in like death metal and shit like that. And this artist, I am so sorry to Mariusz Lewandowski.
Mariusz Lewandowski.
Yes, thank you. Thank God you're here, because holy fuck, I tried to practice that shit in the mirror, and
It's not that complicated. It only sounds like Marius.
Yeah, but I'm also dumb as fuck. So you gotta work with me
It's
here.
funny you said you're dumb, because Marius, like, you know, Marius without a Z, but with a Z, it's sounding silent. I believe it's silent. So
We hope, Marius, if you're out there, correct us. But as an artist, You can definitely, if you guys just go out and you look at those 3 album covers, he has a look. And this is kind of the thing that I struggle with. And this is something that maybe one day we'll have an artist on the podcast to talk about this. But I would really like to know if the band reaches out to the artist and the band kind of portrays the image, or if it's the artist who rather maybe listens to cuts of the music and depicts an image in his head. Because I always feel that his stuff has a great way of capturing the music, and exactly like how it feels, and almost like a doom aspect. They do it. He does a very good job, and I really enjoy it, and just how like vibrant and stuff. One thing I will say this is that a lot of these album covers, they're fucking awesome, but I have a Fuming Mouth shirt, and unfortunately the shirt, like when you get it printed on a shirt, it just doesn't do the image justice. Terminal Nation, this one, which I'll talk about today too.
Beautiful.
Great fucking great image. It's a great album, and it's a fucking great piece of art, but like shirts don't do it justice, man. You gotta see the album cover, which is again probably one of those things that like, go out and buy the album, man. Go out, buy the vinyl, buy the album, have a physical copy, because to really look at these images and listen to the music, it goes hand in hand, and you really have to, like, it will help you remember.
Yeah.
Like, what helps me remember, if you can just like look at the image and kind of, listen to music at the same time, and just, really get lost in what's going on.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, artworks help you remember. And I think when I was first listening to metal, it wasn't a thing for me like to remember of the artworks, but when I saw some great artworks on album, I was like, okay, now I remember what this is. And I think just before I say like one of my top 3 or whatnot, I'll just say this: metal, the indifference of other genre, even if if there's no artwork, like great art on it, you can remember it well, even if it's not like Marius Lewandowski, for example. And I think in folk and pop music, like Seething Color over there, like I'm a big fan of this guy, which is the clean singer of Alex is on Fire. In pop and folk and other stuff, sometimes it's more like the face of the artist on your photo. I think in metal, what is the best is the artwork. Like, when I bought my favorite Def album, I just saw the artwork, man. The artwork is amazing. You know what you will have in that album. You know it. You know it on the cover. But yeah, I would go with my one of my artists, and I've discovered this artist like not too long ago. It's Par Olofsson. You don't know this guy, but you know what he did without knowing this guy. He did some Within Destruction, Aborted, Abysmal Dawn, Sign of the Swarm.
Did he do both of them?
He did the Disfigurement of Existence. Most of them, they're like more futuristic. Like, if I take, for example, Pathology, Lords of the Refame, it's very futuristic in a sense, like very dystopic. I love it. I just love this artist. And yeah, like I see that and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, that's pretty cool. Go search this name on Google or whatever, and go on this site. I will put a link. He did some pretty great stuff. Stuff. I think my favorite though is the Within Destruction, Death Wish. Like this album, it rips so much, and I just love this Cerberus with like 4 fucking head. Like, in one head is pretty fucked up. I just love it.
A lot of work obviously goes into those album covers, and with everything being so digital, I feel like people can forget very easily the imagery of those album covers, which is a shame because they really do have a lot to do with the album. Obviously not as much as the music, but you know, I think that it's a great way to get people attached, for sure. I mean, look at I hate Metallica, but like you could probably show the album cover of the Black Album.
Yeah.
And fucking everyone in the world's gonna know what that is.
Everyone.
For sure, and they'll probably even remember when they first heard it and all that jazz. I mean, look at Slayer's albums, man. You even if you've never really heard it, but you could definitely look at it and see the imagery and be like, oh, I know what band that is.
When those bands are very known, are known by a lot of person, you know it exactly what he did. You know the band, most of the time. You know the band, you know everything about it. You said Metallica. Megadeth is the same thing. You take Rust in Peace, for example. It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's Vic Rattlehead over an alien with some government people behind him on a blue cover. Like, it. I just say Rust in Peace. You know the image in your head. You know it. Mm-hmm. Like you can't replace it by other one.
My next artist on my little list, I would say, it actually isn't a metal band, which is funny enough. I'm talking about Sam Spratt. He is the artist who does all of Logic's album covers.
Okay.
Logic being the American rapper who I guess retired now. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. If that actually happens or not. But I very much like Logic's album covers. I always kind of have. They have like a nice cartoon depiction almost, or not. I mean, I wouldn't even really say cartoon. I guess like comic book aspect to like a lot of his imagery. And I'm pretty sure Sam has done all of them. I want it. I hope I'm right because the dude does great work, and he definitely has a Logic. If you ever heard it, he definitely has a message, a story, everything that goes along. A lot of concepts in his music. So it helps that he has an artist that he can rely on to really depict that in the cover. You could kind of tell like the incredible true story when he's sitting there in the spaceship and he's got all the other boys behind him. You could kind of tell kind of what's going on based on just the imagery. And I think he also did Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2. I mean, he does a great job. I love the colors. You can kind of tell from the first artist to this one that I have a nice little look about how I like my albums. They all kind of have those vibrant colors to them, and they kind of pop out at you. So I definitely have to go with Sam on that. I wish I knew a little bit more about him. He's done a ton of interviews. He did one in particular. I can't quite remember what website did it, but he did go in depth about explaining the covers and the thought process and stuff about making them. So I definitely check that out. He has a website. It's just Sam Spratt.
I love it. Like I just go like on Google and I just see like this Bill Murray. I think it's Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. Like he's more older on this picture than now. but I love it. There's a lot of details in it. I like it.
It's paint.
It's paint on that. a lot of paint. I love it. I love an artist, like some artists are using like Photoshop, Illustrator, and a lot of software like that, and others will use paint and other physical stuff.
Yeah, some guys definitely will still paint. I don't really know, but for sure, but kind of like paint canvases and shit.
Yeah.
And then some of them will just do like the painting, literally on like an iPad or computer, like a digital computer painting. If you ever watch, Jordan Buckley of Every Time I Die, he'll do like a drum head, like they'll do a show, and he'll do like a painting using a program on the computer.
Okay.
And he'll put it on a drum head, and that goes out to a fan or something. They'll do like a little giveaway, and it's always really fucking cool. It's always really gnarly, a little on the grotesque side. It's pretty sweet.
That's nice. That's pretty sweet. What I was saying, like about the physical and digital, it was a great transition to go with my second, John Baisley. When you see that at first, when you see an art of John Baisley, you're like, oh, that's pretty nice. Like the colors and the girls on the Baroness album, they are pretty detailed. It's pretty inspired by Alphonse Mucha, which is a painter. Like, I don't know what is the style of this painter, but just go see Alphonse.
Naked ladies.
Yeah, there is some naked ladies on that.
Well, I mean, Baroness, when you talk about their album covers, they're always depicted by just the color of the album.
Yeah.
And typically will always have a form of
girl,
not so well dressed woman.
Yeah.
In some capacity, whether it's holding a catfish or having a fucking nest of birds in her hair.
John Baisley, even if it's mostly inspired by the work of Mucha, I don't care. I just see a Baroness album or a Skeleton Witch album or other artists that he did, some bands that he did, and you just know right in front of the cover, it's John Baisley. You just know it. But yeah. This type of artist,
those Skeleton Witch albums are fucking. They look good too.
Yeah, like
it's fucking. Which I think is probably a little more tacked to his own taste, and not so much Alphonse, whatever. Definitely have like his own flair to that. I feel like even the Baroness albums, you can definitely tell he's got that flair because they're more, how would you describe it? They're brighter and more playful images.
He developed his style with Mucha. Like, it's based on Mucha, but he developed his style with that base. And that's pretty cool. You just see an artist, you want to do like it. You want to do like it, but you want to do with your personality. And I think John Baisley did that. Like, you see Baroness, like the Red album over there. You compare it to Mucha, it's like, it's not day and night, but there's some difference. Like, the bass with the flowers and the girl. But after that, he developed his style. Like, I think I will go with... Wait a second, I have it over there.
Got it, I'm still here. Hello, everybody. In this intermission, safe listening. Protect your ears from ear orgasms. That's the Purple album.
Sorry, I didn't have my headphones. That is, I think, what is the best artwork of John Baisley is. That's the style of John Baisley. Like, it's very different. You got some dogs, you got some birds, and you got some bees, and you got everything on it. And I have it on vinyl. I know it's expensive, but I don't care.
Hey, it's all about that great piece of imagery, man. It goes right along with it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you do those vinyls and things like that, and you can open them up or something, expand them, and you can kind of see the expansion of the image, besides just the album cover. because a lot of time they'll expand upon the image and stuff. Like I know for Terminal Nation, Holocene Extinction, it has the Reaper's got like an extending arm in the full image and stuff. It's almost like a banner, which is pretty cool. It just gives you a little bit more visually to look at. So speaking of Terminal Nation, I have a guy who what's funny is I've always appreciated his artwork without actually knowing who he was, because I always find myself loving the same images and they all have to do with him. This guy's name is I hope I'm saying this right, but it's Adam Burke. If I'm right, I think he's out of Oregon, I think. But he's done all sorts of fantastic images. He also, and which I'm sure a lot of these other artists do, but he puts out like his own self-interest images and stuff, and definitely has such a great style to them. So he's done bands like Skalder, which is a band that I wasn't really familiar with, but he did their album cover. He did Vaki, which is a Finnish. They just came out with a new album, like a Finnish death metal band. And then he did Hath. Oh, their new Of Rotten Ruin. Terminal Nation, as I'm wearing here. He did End. And even the Unleash the Archers. Oh, okay. Just to name a few. You could definitely look at a lot of those images, and if you kind of like put them in a collage, you could definitely tell that one, it's obviously done by the same guy, and two, he has his own fingerprints all over the place. Again, this is kind of the thing that I'm kind of ignorant to, but I feel like he's one of these artists, and don't hold me to this, but I feel like he's one of these artists that definitely can take a little bit of the music and can build an image off of it. A lot of his stuff has that almost doom and gloom, very dark mystic symbolism to it, or more or less the shades and things like that. It all kind of looks bleak. I'm not really an art dude, so it's kind of hard for me to. I look at things like metal, like I just want to yell at it and be like, "That's brutal," But I'm trying to think of like better ways to describe this shit. But like, I mean, you can look at the Terminal Nation one with the Reaper. You got the he's got the clock down there. The symbolism in the images there is fucking fantastic. He does, I don't think you're gonna find anybody much better. He does a fucking great job. I took some time to look at his Instagram. I highly suggest everyone does too. He has images for sale and for licensing and stuff, which brings me to my other thing. I don't know how many of images he has where it was a pre-done image that a band just wanted, which kind of would contradict my whole theory, or my belief, I guess, that a lot of artists listen to the music first and then build something off of that. Because I always look at it as when you construct a song and the guitarist comes up to you, you're the vocalist and you're coming up with lyrics, and the guitarist is doing riffs and stuff, and the drummer's doing his thing, and they kind of build a song musically first before you put vocals to it and lyrics. And then that's kind of like up to the vocalist to be like, and it doesn't have to be the vocalist, but neither here nor there, but just kind of like come up with the words, make them fit with the music. I like to think that that's kind of how the album covers work, where it's like, these are, this is kind of like what we're looking at, musically. Can you depict something in a little bit of back and forth as like, this is what I thought, well, this is what we thought, blah, 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 blah. And eventually you come up with the album covers. I just really like his work. Aside from album covers and everything like that, I just really like it. I think that it is a great depiction of definitely a little, like a lot of his stuff's like a little story. It's a great depiction of something happening in a moment. Can really bring in a lot of feelings. You could definitely look at them and you could kind of understand them very easily. Which for someone who's dumb like me, is kind of hard to do. I like to look at stuff and feel like I'm following along. Like I understand what's happening. It's hard. Like I'm sure some people who are way more intelligent than I am could probably look at like a bunch of triangles and be like, oh, I get that. Yeah, I know what's going on. I just be that's fucking
you don't
a bunch of triangles.
You don't need to be intelligent just to find another knowledge about triangles. Like when you see triangles, like there is a type of art called abstract art, which is like
abstract.
Most of them are like you took a canvas, you take paint, you draw a line, and you're like, that's art. Or you're like, let's put some line, purple, red, blue, and other colors like that, and it's called art. But you don't know what this is. You just see that you're like, that's what my daughter vomits yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like
it's hard.
You find art in that, and art, it's subjective. It's very subjective in what you think, and you don't need to be intelligent just to find something, just to feel something with art. Like you said, you're saying you're dumb. You're not. You're not dumb. Stop saying that. Stop heaven, or I will come in Massachusetts and just kick your ass. You're not dumb.
I'm slightly slow. The reason we do this we want to do this episode is because I feel like, it's very easy for somebody, fan of metal, a fan of whatever music, you could just pick up an album or a vinyl and you just say, oh, cool art, cool cover. And then you just kind of like shrug it off after that because you're all about the music. The cover is supposed to draw you in. It's supposed to depict, it's supposed to give you an image in your head when you're listening to music. You could kind of gravitate to it and make it all come together.
I will go with my last artist because I have a lot, but I think this one just hit me the most when I see his artwork. Is Dan Seagrave. Maybe it's like Par Olofsson. You don't know who is this artist, but you know the bands. He did Where Hours Know My Name from Rivers of Nile, which is I think the greatest album of them. Like, I know the other ones are good, but I think this one is the best. Not only musically, but artistically. Like, you see an old man. When you just like zoom it, you see an old man with like roots of tree, with birds on his fucking skull. And you're like, oh shit, there's some symbolism behind that. When you see an album of Dan Seagrave, like he did Decrepit Birth, Axis Mundi. I think he did other of Decrepit Birth. He did some Demon Hunter. He did Morbid Angel.
Yeah,
he did Nocturnus. I think he did Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten from Suffocation.
Ooh.
He did Malevolent Creation, Warfare, and I can go on and on. Oh, Immortal, At the Art of Winter. That's Dan Seagrave. You didn't know, but now you know. The more
now
you
we
know,
are all aware. we are now all just a little smarter.
We will sleep less dumber. We will sleep less dumber each time.
How do you sleep dumb?
Maybe like you, I don't know. You're saying you're dumb. Sorry, like
I had to finish my drink on that one.
Like I finished my drink and fuck that hits 7%, but that hits like 7%? A motherfucker. it's only 7%, but I don't know. With Messorem, you're like 7, it's like 8, 8 it's like 9, and 9 is like 10, and 10 is like 11. Like, they increase it. So Dan Seagrave is a little bit like Par Olofsson with his futuristic sometimes, but there's a lot more of the abyssal, some nightmarish vibe with Dan Seagrave that I love, and he's selling some art on his store. Check it out. And I wanted to comment some art of Dan Seagrave's, but because it's one of my favorite with John Baisley. I think what I want in my apartment or in my house, it's Dan Seagrave and John Baisley art.
But yeah, it was art, dude. You gotta check out, pay attention to the covers, appreciate them, love them, and don't just give your band a shout out. Give the artist a shout out, man. They deserve some love too.
Exactly.
For sure. I got a band shout out. Do you?
Oh yeah, I have it. Like I have a lot, but I think I would go with one that fit with the team. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my band shout out is a band from Newington, Connecticut. My fellow New Englanders, what up? Fire in the Distance.
Okay.
I haven't heard. Actually, I can't say that. I haven't heard all of their stuff. I've been listening to this album. Just came out September 18th. It's fucking a great listen. Black Death, all of it. Its imagery is that of, how like old school Renaissance paintings with like the Gothic imageries and things like that. That's kind of what their album cover reminds me of. It almost looks like you could find it in a textbook or like in an old museum somewhere. It's pretty well done. The artist again, Kaylin Stokermans. I fucking don't even know if I not pronounce that right. It reminds me almost of like a Finnish name. But the album's called Echoes from Deep November. I highly recommend you check it out. Give them a like on their socials, and definitely check out the artist.
So my shout out would be a Montreal band. It's called Bukkake.
Of course.
Yeah, Bukkake. Like
of the ears.
Yeah, Bukkake of the ears, Bukkake of the image, Bukkake of the fucking concept. Like the last album is a weird concept about religion and some women and men. It's fucked up. And the artist, which is the singer of Bukkake, this is Phil Langelier, which is one of my friends. This guy, his artwork is like, it's rough, it's gore a little bit, but fuck, that's so great.
Like raw image.
It's raw. It's it's a little bit like Dan Seagrave in some point, but it's like it's raw, it's brutal, and you know what you will have with that cover. You just know it, like. But no, I'm saying that, but not at all, because you see the cover, you're like, oh, that's slam stuff, Bukkake slam, and you hear that, you're like, fuck, it's not slam, it's death progressive. It's progressive death metal in a way. Mm-hmm. Like the last album, there's a song of 13 minutes called Celestial Decimation, and fuck, there is some like brutal stuff, a little bit of slam, a little bit of prog, a little bit of dubstep. I don't know why, but there's dubstep in it, some electronic stuff, and you're like, oh fuck, okay, that's pretty intense, but fuck. Okay.
Shout out to Oliver's.
And the last album, because Bukkake doesn't exist anymore, it's called Ignominies. And
Bukkake's exist.
Huh?
Bukkake exists.
The Bukkake, the art form of Bukkake exists. which is an art, by the way. Okay, it's always white, but we don't care.
I will argue with you. It is an art form. It is everything. The Japanese have made it an art. I mean, what are you gonna do with all those tentacles anyway? I mean, you got to do something with them. You know, they're just taking what they got and they're just making it work.
Nani? Not this guy. Like, Yamete Kadasai.
Oh my god. On that note,
Why am I doing that?
on that note, boys and girls, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to give us a like, comment down below who your favorite artist is, and give them a shout out, man.
Oh yeah, don't be shy to comment. We are all ears. Like, I see the videos and like, oh, there are not a lot of comments. I'm like, I want some comments. I want to interact.
let us know what you guys. Yeah, let us know what you guys think. If you think we suck, let us know. Maybe we'll read it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll read it. Maybe we'll read it out loud.
To be honest, like,
probably not though.
If you say you suck, I'm like, thank you, because I want just to improve with that. I want to improve with the suckage.
I could give a fuck if we suck or not. I don't give a shit.
Like, I don't give a fuck if I don't have the best English accent ever. I don't care. I'm just a fucking Quebecois. I don't care.
It's all right. Your English is no better than mine.
Is that even a compliment?
Yeah.
So let's end on that note. I'm Phil.
I'm Evan.
And we are Whispers from the Void. Thanks for watching. See you later.